Mindful eating or conscious eating is the practice of being fully attentive to your food, your feelings, your hunger, and your satiety cues. It's about eating consciously, engaging in all senses, and acknowledging responses, feelings, and physical cues like hunger and fullness. Welcome to week 4. My name is Liz Anderson, and I'm a dietitian, health coach, and a certified lifestyle medicine practitioner. We're almost halfway through the Momentum program. We will discuss hunger and fullness cues today, as well as some of the hormones powering these sensations, and how stress can impact these cues and include strategies to help you in your weight loss journey. But first, let's review. Last week, we discussed the benefits of exercise, including stress management, improving cholesterol, blood sugar and blood pressure, improving sleep, and managing weight. There are 4 types of exercise to include: endurance, strength, flexibility, and balance. Activities like walking, standing, gardening, or housework is physical activity, whereas formal exercise is intentional and planned movement. Formal exercise examples include using an elliptical, free weights and machine weights, swimming laps, attending a spinning, yoga, or Pilates class, or doing a high-intensity interval training session. The goal is to find activities that you enjoy and will be motivated by and devoted to. These may include home workouts, gym classes or equipment, group sports and outdoor activities. You also set 1 to 2 SMART goals and discuss developing a plan to implement more formal exercise into your week. We also discussed using bite-sized or smaller bouts of movement throughout the day that can add up. For effectiveness with weight loss, building that exercise time to at least 300 minutes per week that includes some type of cardio and also resistance training. This works out to be about an hour of exercise 5 days a week. So how did last week go? If your answer is you did nothing different, then let's revisit your vision and motivators. If starting feels overwhelming, start with smaller goals, like I'm going to walk 20 minutes 3 times this week and build from there. To be successful and meet your health and weight loss goals, you will want to start implementing a goal from each week with nutrition and exercise in mind. The next piece of the puzzle is mindful eating and satiety. Let's jump right into this week's topic by understanding hunger, satiety, and cravings. Hunger and satiety are sensations powered by hormones. They have physiological signs. They should work naturally and regulate how much we eat, but can get off track, making weight loss more difficult. Cravings are not true hunger. This is when you want something specifically, typically a salty or sweet treat. Cravings do not have the same physiological sign that true hunger does. Just like the hunger and satiety hormones we just talked about, and we will cover more shortly, the medications you may have heard of that assist with weight loss, like Xenical, Contrave, or GLP-1 medications like Wegovy, semaglutide, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Zepbound, also work with hormones. These medications can help with weight loss by reducing appetite and managing blood sugar so that people eat less and consume smaller portions. GLP-1 medications were originally created to help people with diabetes manage their condition. Our bodies naturally produce the hormone GLP-1 in our intestines and brain, and it helps to regulate our blood sugar and appetite. It also helps with lipid or cholesterol metabolism. GLP-1 also stimulates insulin release from the pancreas when blood sugar levels are high, helping to lower our blood glucose. When our appetite has decreased and we eat less, we may lose weight at a quicker rate. Due to the tendency to cut back significantly on food intake, you may lose a large portion of muscle mass along with fat. So if you aren't eating enough, you also might miss out on important vitamins and nutrients. So if you're taking these medications, it's important to still eat on a schedule and get protein at every eating event. Protein intake is a priority, but so is fiber-rich foods which help to ward off some of the side effects such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats for health. The best approach while taking these medications is to work on behavior changes alongside the medication. Some of these medications are not covered by insurance and can be quite expensive, ranging from $400 to $1,200 out of pocket. Common side effects include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. Also, it is unclear how many people using these will remain on them long term. If you feel you need additional support on your weight loss journey and that medication could help, talk to your doctor to see if this is an available and appropriate option for you. Additionally, visiting with a dietitian can be very helpful to ward off side effects of these medications and improve outcomes. Let's zoom in on that powerful sensation of hunger that we can all feel, even getting to the point of hangry every once in a while. Ghrelin is one of the hormones responsible for your feeling of hunger. It works on a cycle, rising before meals and naturally dropping after meals. It cycles naturally about every 3 to 4 hours. So feeling hungry between meals that are far apart is very natural. Hunger, powered by hormones, is the physical need to eat. It is important to understand what true hunger feels like so you can differentiate between that and other things like cravings. Let's go over some of the physiological signs of hunger. Growling stomach, hunger pains, feeling of restlessness or even lightheadedness. The desire to eat doesn't go away and even intensifies over time. A non-favorite food even sounds good. Most people feel true hunger about every 3 to 4 hours. Eating this often may help to improve metabolic rate, blood sugars, and mood. To keep ghrelin working on this cycle, eat when you are hungry. This will reduce the potential of overeating. Part of the issue with ghrelin is that it can continue to rise until you eat. So if you eat on a regular schedule when you are hungry, you will optimize your ghrelin and reduce chances of overeating. Because it continues to rise until you eat, you may also overeat when you do eat if you delay past when you feel hungry. Leptin is a hormone that our body fat or adipose tissue releases to help maintain or regulate the long-term balance between our body's food intake and energy we use. It helps to tell us when we are full and satisfied. The level of leptin in our blood is related to the amount of body fat we have. Chronic obesity can lead to higher leptin levels, which can lead to leptin resistance, which may cause some people to feel hungry and eat more, even though their body has enough fat stores. As your body fat decreases with weight loss, your leptin levels decrease. This signals your body to think that it's starving. So you may feel intense hunger and cravings, which can lead to overeating. This can make working on losing weight more difficult. Leptin levels can adjust over time with weight loss and a reduction in body fat. Scientists are currently working on developing medications that can treat leptin resistance. Our first tip of the day relates to supporting your ghrelin hormone. Schedules help your hormones resensitize and know when to expect food and fullness. Don't skip meals or go too long without eating. Starvation only makes it harder to listen to your body's true hunger and fullness cues. Be aware also of the times you may be eating when stressed, bored, sad, or if food is just there within your reach. We want to manage things like stress in other ways and work on eating when we are truly hungry. Emotions, including chronic stress or being exceptionally busy, can make it hard to eat, especially on a schedule. Learning and practicing coping mechanisms that don't involve food will help to support your hunger and satiety hormones. Try to listen to your body and eat when you are hungry. For many people, that is about every 3 to 4 hours. For you, it could be more or less often. 5 hours is typically a danger zone, and overhunger can lead to binge eating and then overfullness. Eating when you are hungry to help maintain your leptin and ghrelin without feeling the need to overindulge. Have food available with you, healthful snacks that are important when you didn't expect that hunger pain. Keeping a few grab-and-go options that are nutritious will help along this journey. Making sure you get enough protein at every meal doesn't just help while on weight loss medications and maintaining our strength and muscle mass, but protein again is important to help with feeling satiety and fullness. Additionally, satiety and fullness is enhanced when we eat meals and snacks that include higher fiber foods, healthy fats, and are hydrated throughout the day. This helps our blood sugar and sustain us longer between meals. This can help eat less food, feel satisfied longer, help decrease your appetite, and over time help with weight loss. As discussed in week 1, combining protein with complex carbohydrates and fat provides the most satiating effect. Here are a few examples. If you are a person that never feels hungry, this may mean that likely your ghrelin cycle is off. Many times it means people will overindulge once a day or even less often to make up for lack of eating. Your body finds a way to make up for skipping meals by either ramping down your metabolism or making you overly hungry at another point during the day. Again, eating on a schedule will support this. This feeling can also be caused by eating too much and your body is overly full at one point, so now you are not hungry enough for the next meal. This means you'll want to focus more on portion control and mindful eating, slowing down when you eat. Satiety is the feeling of fullness. It typically takes approximately 15 to 20 minutes for your satiety cues to reach your brain. However, it can take even longer for some, especially if those cues have been dulled over time. These cues being dulled can be from overeating, eating from boredom, or eating at other times you weren't actually hungry. These dulled cues can delay fullness from hitting you until after 45 minutes to an hour after eating. So it's important to get your satiety hormones, especially leptin, back to working properly so you can feel full sooner. The next few tips all focus on helping balance your satiety hormones, especially leptin. So this is the first tip. One thing we know that makes us not listen to our hormones includes multitasking. Have you ever been watching a movie, reached over for a snack only to find the bowl was empty, thinking, was that me? Multitasking makes it hard to focus on more than one thing, and you may eat more than you intended. So this tip is to stay mindful around eating. Multitasking is the opposite of being mindful. To support mindful eating, I would recommend putting other things aside, if possible, to focus on mealtime. Another way to support mindful eating is to create a place for eating, a space where you can sit at a table without distractions, put those phones away, turn off the TV, having family meals and connecting socially during meals, and creating a calm and happy environment. This all means setting the table, eating from a plate and not out of the bag. It's important to have a space to eat that isn't always your desk, in front of the TV, or your car while you're doing other tasks. When you always eat in one place, like at your desk, it can create what we call a conditioned response, basically a habit. If you always eat at your desk, in front of the TV, or in your car, your body begins to think that anytime you are at your desk, watching TV, or in your car, it's time to eat. This can increase office snacking or car snacking and cravings. So wherever you are, most of the time, try to eat in a designated eating space. A breakfast bar, table being the best. Remember us discussing portions? Start with a smaller portion. More of whatever you love sounds good to our brain, but listening to your body is important. As mentioned earlier, leptin typically takes 15 to 20 minutes to activate. However, with leptin resistance, it can take even longer. Another tip to support your leptin fullness is to start small, chew, and wait. It is okay to start with a smaller portion and then wait to go back for seconds. If you are still hungry, that's okay. Chew your food slowly. Put your fork down between bites, wait to go back for seconds. Give your body and mind a chance to think and talk. Be willing to give yourself permission to quit before you get too full and permission to go get more food when you're hungry, even if it's in 30 minutes. A hunger and fullness scale is another useful tool to consider to support mindfulness around food and will help to understand your own hunger and fullness. Where do you end your meals feeling? Aim for about a 6 or 7 on the fullness scale. It's okay if this causes you to eat more often. It should also cause you to enjoy smaller portions at a time. This helps your blood sugar and your metabolism. In addition, it's not good to get too hungry below about a level 3. As a result of falling below and being too hungry, it is common to overeat. It can take time for your leptin signals to change their timing. So keep waiting before getting seconds, and eventually your body will get used to your new rhythm. But it does take time, and hunger and fullness will work again. So how do you use this? You can physically write down where you are at on your hunger and fullness scale when you start your meal, as well as when you end your meal. It's a great way to bring awareness to your hunger and satiety cues. Measure when you leave the table and again about a half an hour later to ensure you aren't overeating. Next is fullness and blood sugar. Have you ever noticed that eating carbohydrates just doesn't seem to fill you up, satisfy you, or sustain you for a long period of time? You may eat some chips or bread and notice 30 to 60 minutes later you're tired or hungry again. That is partially because of your hormones and your blood sugar regulation. If your blood sugar is fluctuating, particularly going higher and then dropping, you will continue to cycle between full, hungry, and get cravings. Hormones CCK and GLP-1 are two hormones that are directly impacted by which foods you choose to eat at each meal and snack. They require fat and protein to work properly. This will help you feel full sooner and feel full longer. Enjoy snacks with at least 2 of the 3 macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So more fullness cues get sent to your brain and you feel full for longer. This will also help in blood sugar regulation. Plan to enjoy a well-balanced meal or snack with all of the macronutrients, particularly pairing carbohydrates with protein and fat. Next up is how to distinguish cravings from true hunger and define ways to combat those cravings. Cravings can be caused from emotions, stress, boredom, habit, or insecurity. Remember, you won't be feeling hunger pains, though your mouth may water at the talk of your favorite treat. These feelings are not from actual hunger and are usually for foods that are not the most healthful choices. And now we can look at several strategies to help you combat cravings. If you're really struggling with cravings, we are here to support you. You can find the link for a one-on-one individualized nutrition counseling appointments below the video. As mentioned before, cravings can be caused from emotions, stress, boredom, habit, or insecurity. Some tips to combat cravings. Don't go hungry. Enjoy high fiber and high protein foods. Drink water. Water is filling and signs of dehydration can include wanting more energy or food. Distract yourself. Find ways to cope and manage stress, anxiety, boredom, and sadness. Chew gum. Brush your teeth. Minty clean makes it harder to give in to those cravings. Reduce temptation. Avoid buying junk food or convenience foods and store things out of sight. And time limit. Cravings are fleeting. Distract yourself and hold off for 15 minutes. Chop your portion. If after 15 minutes the craving is still there, give yourself permission to have a modest portion of the food and enjoy without guilt. Gradually decrease the sweetness and saltiness of your foods. Enjoying less sweet and salty foods does change your taste buds over time. Our palates adjust if you just give it time. One big contributor to cravings can be stress. Unfortunately, we all have stress in our lives, and chronic stress is the worst for our body. You may also find stress worsens cravings. Not only that, but stress changes the way we use food in our body. Stress increases cortisol. Cortisol plays a role in your metabolism. When cortisol is high, particularly for prolonged periods of time, it keeps your blood sugar elevated, which makes it hard to lose weight. This can also play a role in messing with your hunger signals. Not only does stress affect your cortisol and thus metabolism, but stress also impacts the stomach and intestines. For example, the very thought of eating can release the stomach's juices before food gets there. This connection goes both ways. A troubled intestine can send signals to the brain, just as a troubled brain can send signals to the gut. Therefore, a person's stomach or intestinal distress can be the cause or the production of anxiety, stress, and depression. That's because the brain and the gastrointestinal system are intimately connected. Repeated elevation of cortisol can lead to weight gain. One way is via visceral fat storage. Cortisol can mobilize a fatty globule called triglycerides from storage and relocate them to visceral fat cells. Those are the cells underneath the muscle and deep in the abdomen. Cortisol also aids fat cell development. Additionally, with high stress level, enzymes may signal greater amounts of cortisol produced at the tissue level, therefore leading to higher overall cortisol levels and the cycle continuing. More cortisol, more fat storage, more cortisol production. A second way in which cortisol may be involved in weight gain goes back to the blood sugar insulin problem. Cortisol releases blood sugar to be ready to fight off anything scary, but it keeps insulin levels down so that the blood sugar doesn't drop. Consistently high blood sugar glucose levels, along with insulin suppression, leads to cells that are starved of glucose, but those cells are crying out for energy. And one way to regulate is to send hunger signals to the brain. This can lead to overeating. And of course, unused glucose is eventually stored as body fat. Stress can cause us to eat less healthfully or stress eat. It can make our hunger and satiety cues get out of whack. It can lead to food cravings, particularly high-calorie sweet foods. Studies have demonstrated a direct association between cortisol levels and calorie intake in populations of women. Cortisol may directly influence appetite and cravings by binding to hypothalamus receptors in the brain. Cortisol also indirectly influences appetite by modulating other hormones and stress-responsive factors known to stimulate appetite. As you can see from the last few slides, stress management is a big key to weight loss and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. We will discuss effective ways to reduce stress next. However, we also want to limit caffeine and sugar in our diet. Too much caffeine and sugar can contribute to stress. Before eating, you want to prime your digestion and your mind. We recommend trying a brief deep breathing technique. One such technique is box breathing, which is clinically proven to reduce cortisol, stress hormone, levels in just 60 seconds. Box breathing is done by exhaling all of the air, then breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and then doing that 4 times. For anyone who wants to try this with me, I will count us through the first little bit and allow you to finish on your own. Close your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. In 2, 3, 4. Now, how does that feel? How else do you think you can reduce your stress? Additional tips for reducing stress in your life to help your body function more optimally. Exercise throughout your week. Take a walk after meals to help with digestion. Keep a gratitude journal. Take fun breaks. Draw or color. Enjoy social time. Try meditation. Delight in self-care. Take medications when needed. And see a counselor. As has been mentioned several times throughout this presentation, consider mindfulness as another tool to help get your hunger and satiety cues back to working order. The more aware and present you are when eating, the more aware you will be when your fullness signals say stop eating. This awareness can lead to true long-term weight management without thinking so hard about all of the rules of dieting. Mindfulness is paying attention to things around you. It keeps you in the present moment, which is particularly difficult with the ever-present demands in our daily lives. When we are scarfing down our food while doing 10 other things, it is hard to hear those fullness cues. There is evidence that mindful eating helps with weight management, diabetes management, and binge eating disorders. Consider mindful eating a slower, more thoughtful way of eating. This helps people choose enjoyable and nutritious foods while homing in on the hunger and satiety cues, encouraging wise eating decisions. Mindful eating replaces self-criticism with self-nurturing. It replaces shame with respect for your own inner wisdom. Every single meal or snack starts with a single bite. If you have a food item handy, grab it, and we'll do this mindful bite activity together. If you don't, save this and practice for a meal or snack later today. First, I want you to take your item and to decide whether or not you're going to eat it. If you just had a snack, you may be less enticed, whereas if you are starving, then this activity may seem very exciting. Does this item sound good to you? How hungry are you? And do you want to participate right now? If the item has a package, I want you to open the item. Then I want you to look at the item. Then we're going to smell the item. As you bring the food to your mouth, slow down and become aware of your movements. Once the food is in your mouth, I want you to clear your hands, put everything down and any remaining food away. I want you to pause and feel the food in your mouth. Roll it around your tongue. Savor what the flavors are of that food. Only after you've done this, take a bite with your mind in laser sharp focus on the process. Concentrate on the taste of the food and the act of eating. Don't do anything else while you're chewing. Just simply chew and pay attention. Keep chewing until the food is uniformly smooth. After you swallow, but before you bring more food to your mouth, rest for a few seconds, and thereby inserting a pause into your eating. Consider all the sensations. Did you feel satisfied from that bite? Do you want another bite? If you would like to go through this exercise again on your own, consider what is different this time and what did you notice? Just as we practice, bringing mindfulness into your practice one mindful bite at a time, once per meal. It's not always realistic to do this for every bite at every meal. That would take your meal hours to eat. The point is to bring awareness around the food and tuning into your body. What are you enjoying? The intention of eating, and particularly if you are hungry. How does this feel? What did you notice about your one bite? Commit to starting each meal with one mindful bite. It will help you to be in a place to pay attention to your body and eat more mindfully throughout each meal. We went over a lot today, so choose 1 to 2 things you want to focus on. Which habit will you choose? Of course, we have another habit for you to consider. Use the hunger and fullness scale in your food journal. If you aren't going to write down your hunger and fullness, check in mentally before starting to eat, aiming for a level 3, and again as you are closer to the end of the eating event, aiming for a 6 or 7. Give yourself that time for your fullness signals to catch up after eating before going back for more, and you will begin to find the right portions for your body. Congratulations on finishing Class 4 on Mindful Eating and Satiety.